In a year in the league in which LeBron James had a very tough year and the Lakers had their step back that they had, and LeBron is not in this postseason, we talked a lot about Giannis Antetokounmpo and his all-around game. We talked a lot about James Harden and his value. But what we're watching right now, in my opinion, I think is that Kevin Durant is the best player in the NBA. When he's going offensively, he is the most unstoppable offensive force I've ever seen. I've been watching the game 40 years, and I don't care who you want to talk about, Michael Jordan, anybody else, no one was more purely unstoppable when he gets going offensively. And what you see him doing on the defensive end now, he is playing defense with a purpose. Durant, I think, has become the best player in the NBA right now.
And when you talked about this in the last 40 years, Michael Jordan was 6'6". Kobe Bryant was 6'7", 6'6". So when you're watching these guys, even LeBron James at 6'9", but Kevin Durant is a full, 3-4 inches taller than all of these guys with that length. He is the most unguardable human that's ever been created from an offensive standpoint. Can shoot, can dribble, can pass, can drive, can do everything. And right now is literally the prime and the pinnacle, I think, of his career.
Remember last year we were doing the touchscreen where I told you that Kawhi Leonard's standing reach was 8'10", just him standing up, and I brought out the roll tape and we showed Kevin Durant scoring over him, and I said he's the most gifted player the league has ever seen. Like, I stand by my comments because I said this last year. How about this? P.J. Tucker has done the best job in over a month guarding him because KD shot 44%. Do you know what percentage KD has been shooting over the past month from the field? 67% from the field. From the field, and he's taking shots like we're about to show, one-legged runners away. Like, watching him work out throughout the summer greening, I'm telling you, the shots that he practiced, that he's been able to master, and with his size, with his length, with his ability to go into his bag, understanding from Dirk, other players, it's the most gifted thing I've ever seen.
And so there's a point that I think we should make here, and that is that because he plays, and I would describe this sometimes as a comparison to the New York Yankees in baseball, sometimes individual players on the Yankees would never win MVP awards and things like that because they just had so many good players. Do you think that Durant's greatness is to some degree diminished in the public eye because there were so many other stars on his team?
100%. And look, I stand by this, Warrior fans. Get whoever you want. Bring them. Yes, there's been jokes made. There's been talks made. But at the end of the day, everyone looked at Kevin Durant like, yo, you don't need those guys. Like, you are amazing. You can dominate. You can do this. And so when he joined up,
Why
it's
is
okay.
that the conversation?
But we're just
because my thing is like, I understand what people were saying. Why do you need those guys? Maybe he actually wants to play for a legitimate team. Have you been seeing what's been going on OKC with Russell Westbrook dominating the ball?
This is the thing, JJ. I agree. He should be able to do that. We're just talking about the narrative and what the conversation became, right? They were like, yo.
It doesn't make it right because it became that.
I'm not saying it is, but what I'm saying really and truly is that he is the most dominant player in the world, right? Right now, what he has been able to do. So yeah, so it does make it a little bit easier for him to team up with another two-time MVP and a team that's already won champion. I'm not critiquing that. I'm just saying that when you looked at it as a whole, you're like, man, this guy has it all.
It just blows me away that the narrative will be, even after this year, if they win a third consecutive championship, okay? They win 3 in a row. The narrative is going to be, well, he has to go prove it by himself. Like, I'm not saying that's what you're going to say. I'm saying what other people have said.
Is that the guy's wrong? Tell me why it's wrong.
Well, because, I mean, guys won 3 championships.
Agreed.
So like, Charles Barkley never won it by. I can go through a list of people that never won it by themselves. Like, that's a new NBA now. And LeBron never wins a couple if he doesn't have Kyrie Irving.
Yeah, and my thing is this. And then when people ask me, what do you think KD is going to do? I think KD should stay there and win as many championships as humanly possible. I think that's what he should do, in my opinion.
Here's the point. Kevin Durant, I believe, is the best player in the world right now. If you make a list, I just spent a couple of minutes talking about John Havlicek and his legacy. I don't think people put Kevin Durant in the same historical context that his game probably deserves because he's doing it on this stacked team that was winning without him. And if he goes somewhere else and does it, fairly or not, I think people will view him differently. I really do.
I think that is a product of recency bias. And I will say this. I think 10 years after KD's career is over, I think people will look back at the numbers and be like, we've never seen anything like that. That's always what it is. We always get absorbed into this world where it's like, we have to talk about it right now. What are you going to do right now? 10 years from now, when you look at the numbers, I mean, the numbers speak for themselves. He's the most efficient player there is in the league, and he's not a big man. He's a guy taking fadeaway jump shots.
Yeah, I know. Look, Kevin Durant can do anything that he wants. Listen, just because we talk about it doesn't mean I don't reserve the right and respect your right to do whatever it is that you want. If he wants to go play in Phoenix and because he likes the weather and wants to go, fine. That's not for us to decide. decide, but it is for us to talk about.
I'll take the under on Phoenix. But
hey, that's my hometown. I did my best, guys. I did my best.
But New York feels like a real possibility. Will it change things if he winds up a Knick as a free agent, which so many people think is going to happen, and he leaves the Knicks who've not won a championship since 1973? I think it will feel different if they put together a team around him in New York that feels in every way like it's his team, and he wins one there. I do think it would feel different.
Do you think his legacy is different if he goes? I'm just saying, if he goes there and wins.
I think LeBron's Cleveland championship is viewed differently than his 2 Miami championships for similar reasons.
Okay, but let me ask you a question. So LeBron had D. Wade and Chris Bosh in Miami, but he had Kyrie Irving that made the shot in Game 7 to win it. So why are we saying that his narrative is different?
Because sometimes the narrative writes itself, and it's not always real.
He did lead that playoff series in every statistical category, even though Kyrie hit the shot.
I'm not saying. I already said that I think LeBron is incredible. All I'm saying is that Kevin Durant is also, you're talking about back-to-back MVPs of the finals. So
we all also know that there's no way in the world.
And there's 2 teams in New York, by the way.
Yeah,
there's 2 teams in New
York. Maybe he comes to Brooklyn. I'm with you. And there's no way that LeBron brings a title back to the land without this man, Richard Jefferson. All right.